In 16 years of policing back roads in Texas, I thought I'd seen everything death could show me. But that night, death decided to meet me first.
I've been in law enforcement for over 16 years here in Texas, and I've seen more than my fair share of tragic, creepy, and downright unexplainable things on the job. From murder scenes to suicides to fatal accidents, sometimes a place just feels different. There was one call I went to, a death notification, that still freaks me out to this day. I had to contact some family members of a woman who had been involved in a fatal car accident a few miles away from her home. When I arrived, I met a woman near the roadway, just inside the property gate. She said she had heard me coming from miles away. I asked her if she lived at the residence, and she confirmed that she did. After asking her to speak with me at the house, she agreed but mentioned she needed to walk, since the house was about 75 yards from the road. When we reached the house, I approached the front door, standing on a small wooden porch, scanning the driveway for the woman. It was about 1 a.m. and completely dark. While I was still looking for her, the front door opened and a younger woman appeared. She seemed concerned by my presence and asked if everything was all right. I told her I needed to speak with her and any other adults inside. She invited me in. I told her I'd wait for the woman I had met near the gate. But the young woman frowned and said, "Nobody else should be home right now." That's when my stomach dropped. I stepped back outside, shining my flashlight across the yard, calling out. But there was nothing. No footprints. No movement. No sign of anyone else. When I went back inside, I delivered the terrible news about a woman named Susan, who had died in the car wreck. The young woman went pale. She told me Susan was her mother. Her husband came in and wrapped his arms around her as she broke down. She said her mother had moved in a few months earlier after her father passed away and hadn't been handling it well. As they cried, I looked at the photos on the wall. One picture stood out, a mid-aged woman smiling with her daughter. It was her. The same woman I had spoken to at the gate minutes before. I didn't say a word, but my chest went tight. I'd just spoken to the woman who died in that crash. She'd met me halfway, like she already knew why I was coming. That experience, and others like it, are why I started sharing these stories from the job. There are things out there we can't explain, and sometimes death itself doesn't wait for permission to speak. Sometimes, when I drive past that same stretch of road, I still slow down, half expecting to see her standing by the gate, waiting for the message she already received. The fire alarm went off first. Seconds later, a 911 call came in from the same house. No one spoke on the line. By the end of this story, you'll probably come to your own conclusion about who made that call, because whoever it was still makes me question what I believe. I was working the desk that evening, a quiet shift between 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. Years ago, our department still monitored a handful of old fire alarm systems, houses that were hardwired decades earlier and never fully disconnected. When the alarm signal came in, first shift dispatch was already clocked in, so she took the call and alerted the fire department. As I was heading out the door to respond, the 911 line rang again. The call was coming from the same address, I answered. No one said a word. There was no background noise, no breathing, just an open line. I assumed the worst, that someone had managed to dial before collapsing, so I ran for my squad car. I radioed the situation on the shared channel so both police and fire could hear and went straight to the house. Another unit arrived at the same time. The house was dark. No smoke, no flames, no signs of distress. Then we saw two women walking up the street. An older woman was pushing a wheelchair. In it sat an elderly lady. They looked calm, confused, but calm. They told us they lived there. They had just gone out for an early evening walk before dinner. When we explained why we were there, the daughter shook her head. As far as they knew, the alarm system had been disconnected years ago during renovations. They didn't have any monitoring service, just a couple of basic smoke detectors. We did a walk around the house anyway. When we reached the back door off the kitchen, we smelled it immediately. Gas. Strong enough to make your eyes sting. We shut off the gas at the main and set up fans to ventilate the house. Inside, we found a cracked gas line running to the oven. The daughter explained she had spilled coffee before their walk and had pulled the oven out a few inches to clean behind it. When she pushed it back, she must have damaged the line. Nothing else in the house was disturbed. Both phones were still on the hook. About 15 minutes into the call, the fire chief arrived. As soon as he saw the two women, he stopped. The elderly woman in the wheelchair told us her husband had been the fire chief of our department over 60 years ago. The daughter's husband had also served in the department. He had passed away a few years earlier. I never believed in ghosts. I still don't know if I do. But an alarm went off. That shouldn't have worked. A 911 call came from a house, with no one inside, and if it hadn't, that house would have stayed sealed. So the only thing I still can't explain is, who made sure it didn't?